We're going to talk about Insulate Britain now, who will stand outside the Royal Courts of Justice in London today to show solidarity with their 9 members who were jailed earlier this week.
The protesters were sentenced on Wednesday after they admitted breaching an injunction by taking part in a blockade at a junction of the M25 during the morning rush hour on October the 8th. But with more protests expected, will more arrests be made? Yeah,
joining us in the studio now is Insulate Britain spokesperson Craig Scudder. Craig, really good to have you with us this morning. First of all, you're on your way, I imagine, to the Royal Courts of Justice after this to show solidarity with your other members. How are you feeling about their imprisonment?
Well, firstly, thank you very much for having me on. Obviously, I'm deeply disturbed that our government has chosen to imprison some protesters who are just really trying to raise the alarm that the government aren't doing enough to insulate Britain's homes and save a person dying every 15 minutes this winter from fuel poverty. But can I just correct you on one thing today? What one of the guys said in the High Court on Wednesday, which is proven to be quite prescient, is that if he's arrested, 10 people will stand up to take his place. And if the government imprisons those 10 people, another 100 will come forward. What we're experiencing today is not an Insulate Britain thing outside the High Court. It's an organic thing that has been... I'm not even sure which other environmental group came up with the idea. From where I live, there's 3 people coming down, one of whom is a member of Christian Climate Action, another is a member of Friends of the Earth, a third is a member of Extinction Rebellion. Now, I'm not saying that people from Insulate Britain won't be there today, but this isn't our gig. This is, I think, going to be a show of ordinary people from a variety of different environmental groups and backgrounds just coming to push back and rebel.
You're saying there's broader
policy.
You're saying there's broader support. That's what you're saying.
But and that's grown massively since Wednesday.
And I think some people would say, OK, you know, your cause is valid, but why go about it in that way? That's what people are upset about.
Yeah, because democracy's letting us down. You know, this government was voted in by 43% of the people, and they're stopping a policy that's got over 70% of support from going through. Now, I don't know what politics lie behind this, whether it's ties to industry, which is, you know, quite often the accusation levelled. But if democracy fails, as it is doing in this case, then, you know, it's our right to rebel. It's our duty to rebel. And, you know, the 200 people that have been involved in Insulate Britain over the last 2 months are just ordinary people with ordinary jobs who are taking time off, losing income, putting their futures at risk by unlimited fines, 2 years in prison for breaching a highways injunction that the government have manufactured because they weren't happy with the law that would have limited our fines to £1,000. You know, why don't they just get on and do the job? It would save money in the long run. We are happy to sit down with Boris, with an economist who will explain to him how he can issue a 30-year bond, how it will pay for all 29 million homes to be insulated and put money into the exchequer.
Yeah. Look, Craig, I have to pull you up on something because, you know, you say the government are putting people in jail. We live in a country where the legislature and the judiciary are separate entities. There's no suggestion that Boris Johnson, sitting at number 10 Downing Street, interfering in the judicial process, OK? They are breaking laws that are there in their own right, that have been through Parliament, that have been justifiably put there. And we live in a democratic society. And if we all start deciding that our particular cause that we care passionately about and we believe in justifies breaking the laws, then we are in an anarchy. And this is not what Great Britain is.
Well, let me first say that we have broken a law, but it's been enacted specifically to deal with us. Normally, blocking a highway is something that's dealt with in the courts and the maximum penalty is £1,000 fine. You say there's no government interference, but there was in this case. Priti Patel encouraged the Highways Agency to issue this injunction to deal with us in this manner.
Royal Courts of Justice have ultimate say over that. Priti Patel. They have the jurisdiction and it's in their hands.
When it comes to them, they do. But the injunction was the idea of the government to deal with us specifically. But and let me say, this isn't just an ordinary issue. Like Sir David King, the last government scientific advisor, has said, we have 3 or 4 years that are going to dictate the future of humanity. In COP26, we've signed on to a pledge to try and keep emissions to a certain point by cutting them by 45% by 2030 to limit temperature rise to below 1.5 degrees. We don't have any policies that are going to enable us to do that.
Yeah.
So it is our right as citizens to call the government to account because other people aren't doing it. If the media were on our page here, think about it. 43% voted for Boris, 72% of people want all our homes insulated. You should be on the side of the people here. Regardless of political affiliations, this is just plain wrong. We need to get on and do this. We should not have 7 million people living in fuel poverty in the 6th richest nation on the planet.
But we're not arguing with the cause. We're still arguing about the methodology. That's the point. And the government has a duty to keep the country running. And if you're lying in the road, the country can't run.
If I had £1 for everyone who said to me, we're not arguing about the cause, just the methodology.
Well, maybe
Come on, then.
Change your methodology.
Come on, then. Give me one. What should I do? We've been told to go outside Parliament. We've done that numerous times. We've been told to micro-target politicians and government departments. We've done that numerous times. It isn't newsworthy. We're trying to move public opinion here. The only way we can do that and the only way we can get the headlines is by being disruptive. We know it works. It's worked on various things across the centuries. You know, whether it's the suffrage movement here, the Gilets Jaunes movement in France a few years ago, the civil rights movements in America. It works. The best thing we can do is all come together on that. We've had hundreds of people join us this week since Wednesday. If thousands more join, this will be over by Christmas. Boris could do a U-turn. I know he doesn't like doing U-turns, apart from the 18 he's already done in the last 2 years, but he could do one on this. We will explain the science to him. We will explain the economics to him.
He understands science.
He doesn't know because he isn't getting it. Our lives are in danger here. I don't want to spend my twilight years fighting over a loaf of bread in Sainsbury's.
I hear what you're saying.
We import our food.
Guess what? Lots of people believe in a lot of things. I personally believe that COVID vaccinations save lives and we're in the middle of a pandemic. But I'm not going to lie in the road and stop people visiting their loved ones as they're dying because people aren't doing what I want to do, which is for them to have a vaccine in their arm. We have a process, OK? We live in a civilised society and people have to follow the law of the land. OK,
so the process has failed or we wouldn't be at this point. And, you know, we've been accused... Hold on a second, let me finish. We've been accused of stopping ambulances. We haven't stopped a single ambulance, right? We've been accused of various hypothetical things that could happen. We're talking about facts versus fiction here.
The facts... Let
me finish, please. Let me finish here. There were 31 hours of traffic for the average person. There were hundreds of traffic jams, like the ones we create, every day around the UK. The fact is, somebody dies of winter fuel poverty every 15 minutes in this country, and it's a disgrace.
No one's
the other fact is that not one person has been killed, not one person has been injured from our actions. None. So hypothetically, could that happen? Yes. But we have to weigh that risk against the facts. The facts are this is the biggest threat humanity's ever faced. Yeah. The facts are 7 million people live in fuel poverty, which is a disgrace. And somebody dies every 15 minutes. 15 minutes from fuel poverty every winter. That is also a disgrace. So I'm sorry, but it is facts v fiction, and we're on the side of the facts and the science.
Craig, we're short of time. How far are you willing to go then to make your point? Are you willing to go to jail yourself? And if this action continues and it doesn't get you anywhere and you keep getting locked up, what's the next level?
I'm willing to go to prison myself, and I have hundreds of like-minded individuals who are willing to go to prison themselves.
And after that, once everyone's in prison?
Well, let's see who blinks first, eh? Let's see how many spaces the government have to lock us up, and let's see how much support we garner.
Craig, really good to talk to you this morning. Thank you for coming in and speaking to us. Craig Scudder there from Insulate Britain, talking to us on the Great British Breakfast.
Let us know your views this morning. Lots of them coming in. Insulate Britain jokers, says Chris Kettle. Lock them up, he says.